Hare Krishna. So I have a note here. It says, please end tonight's class at 6:30 p.m. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So with that in mind, we'll dispense with the preliminaries and proceed with our little gathering of wonderful facts about Gopastami. Okay. Om Jnanatamrandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So Gopastami is always celebrated on this day, the 8th day of the waxing moon of the month of Damodar. I think that's what we're on now. And it celebrates Krishna's graduating from a calf herd to a cow herd. Up until this time, he was herding the calves, but now he's grown a little bit. He's between 6 and 10. This is the paugaṇḍa age. And so he really wanted to go to start herding the cows, and so they awarded him that post. And so the first, actually it's mentioned, this pastime is mentioned in the very first verse of chapter 15 of the 10th canto. This is the chapter in which Krishna and Balaram killed Dhenukasura and his associates, the jackass demons. So I'm going to dispense with the Sanskrit. Let's read the translation. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, first verse of chapter 15 of the 10th canto, when Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna attained the age of paugaṇḍa, 6 to 10, while living in Vṛndāvana, the cowherd men allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vṛndāvana most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. So, what happened was that when Krishna was a calf herd, he wouldn't go far from home. You know, they were going a little ways off, and Mother Yashoda could always keep her eyes on him. She could see him. So she was grateful for that. But now, he was going to go deep into the forest, and so she resisted this whole thing. She wasn't so happy with it. But everyone assured her that this was natural, and Krishna really wanted it. You know, he was really hankering to be a full-on cowherd boy, and so she finally agreed. But she was very worried that Krishna's feet would be hurt when he walked on the paths there with all of the stones and the pebbles and the roots and things like that. So she was in great anxiety. So he said, why don't you wear shoes? I'll get you some nice shoes. I'll make you a nice pair of, you know, Birkenstock type shoes. Be very comfortable and protect you. And he said, oh, okay, as long as you make shoes for all the cows also. And how many cows did he have? Over 100,000? Times 4 would be 400,000. So that wouldn't be feasible. But when the cows heard that Krishna was so concerned about them, their hearts overflowed with love. And so in order to protect his feet, they went out into the forest paths and they tamped down all of the pebbles and everything, turned them into dust, into nice soft dust. And also they were pouring milk, so it mixed with that, it became very silky and very soothing for the feet. So that's one pastime you probably never heard of before. When this was about to happen, now it's a big festival, and the cows are also worshipped very much in this festival. It's called Gopastami. They're decorated nicely. They're offered artik, and they have all kinds of garlands and things around them. Their feet are plated with silver, and their horns with gold and everything. So they're the center of attraction here. And Srimati Radharani was really anxious to go and help, and help celebrate with Krishna out in the forest on his first day. But as you probably know, if you read Krishna book or the Nectar of Devotion, she was carefully guarded by her mother-in-law, Jatila. She was married to Abhimanyu. And they suspected that, you know, she had a crush on Krishna, so to speak. And so they were very much guarding her, make sure she didn't get out. And so she was kind of stuck at home. So Subal knew that, Krishna's friend. He's one of Krishna's intimate friends, Subal, and he happened to have a very close resemblance to Radharani. So he came up with a plan how he could spring her from the house imprisonment. So he went to Radharani's house where she lived with Abhimanyu and Jatila, and he took a little calf, and he guided the calf into the courtyard there, and he got in there, and he was in the ground somewhere, I'm not sure. So then he went in and he knocked on the door and he said to the Jatila, my calf got caught in here, you know, and I'd like to go retrieve him. And she suspected that this was some kind of a conspiracy, you know. She said, I don't know about that, you know. And so after a while, she also saw the calf cavorting in the corner of her eye, so she saw it was real. So she said, okay, go get the calf. So he got the calf, but he also went inside. And he told Radharani, okay, listen, this is how you can get out. We'll change clothes, because you look like me. And then you can take this calf with you. And Jatila thinks that there's a lost calf in here. And I'll stay in here with, you know, dressed as you. And she won't notice anything. Because she's older, she's a little nearsighted, you know. So they did that, and the rules worked. She was able to get out. She took the calf and she held in front, so this, you know. And so she was able to leave. And later on, I think Subal also snuck out, you know. So this way Radharani got out, you see. And you see her dressed as a cowherd boy. This is the only time she dressed as a cowherd boy. And you can see the feet. I think it's the only time. Do we do it on Vṛndāvana too? I'm not sure. So Krishna is going out into the forest, and I wanted to share with you a few poems I have now. This is a little abbreviated here. So he's very ecstatic to be, you know, free and ready to play and cavort in the forest with Balaram and the other cowherd boys and the cows. So there's a chapter of the 10th canto, 21, called the Venu Gita. And in that Venu Gita, the Gita is actually the gopis singing about Krishna as he plays the flute, as he leaves, goes to the forest, and what's he doing in the forest. And there's a very famous verse about Govardhan Hill that I think we heard on Govardhan Puja. Hantai maddadabala hadidasya varyo yad Rāma Krishna charanaspadasha pramora manam tanoti sahagogana yostayoyat pani yasuya vasakanda dakanda mulai. So the gopis are saying, now they're back home, but they're meditating on Krishna, and so they're feeling like they're right next to them. So say, this hill, if you know, Govardhan is quite a ways away from the village of Vṛndāvana. They're feeling like they're right there. This hill is the best servant of Krishna. Hantayam Adri hill Abala Haridasya Varya. Oh friends, Haridasya Varya is the best servant of Hari. Why? Yad Rāma Krishna charanaspadasha pramoda. Very ecstatic because it's being touched and walked on by Balaram, and they're giving the foot dust is being, you know, gathered by the hill as which they walk everywhere. So Rāma Krishna charanaspadasha pramoda. Very ecstatic to be walked on by Krishna and Balaram. And what's the best thing that why is the Govardhan Hill the best servant of Krishna? Because it serves his friends and the cows. What does it do for the cows? It provides fresh water and gourmet grasses for them to eat, you know. And for the boys, when they want a snack, it has little edible roots that it gives, and the caves where they like to play, and sometimes Krishna will meet the gopis in there. So this is why Govardhan is so nice. So the gopis are singing that at home, and as Krishna enters the forest for the first time as a cowherd, They're all gathered to watch him, and it's a wonderful scene, a beautiful painting, and Krishna's playing his flute. So this verse is a famous verse. Barha pidam natavadavapu karneo karnikaram bibradvasa karnaka kapisham vaijayantim chamalam randran veno adadasudeya purihan gopa vrindaranyam sopatadamanam pravishad gita kirti. With lovely peacock plume upon his head, and fragrant flower placed upon each ear, he entered Braja's woods with graceful tread, a handsome dancing actor without peer. His golden yellow raiment brightly glows, his splendid garland reaches to his knees, and from his luscious lips the nectar flows, and fills his flute with charming melodies. As Krishna thus begins his blissful day, with cowherd friends who sing his glory sweet, he beautifies Vṛndāvana's forest way, with fine impressions of his lotus feet. So then they go into the forest, and as soon as they're a little free from the village, Krishna and Balaram start running along the bank of the Yamuna, very ecstatic to get to the very special places, you know, where they can play. So there's a beautiful painting. I don't know if you've seen all these paintings, but Krishna and Balaram are running in front, and the boys and the cows are running behind, and there's the Yamuna in the background. So I wrote a poem about this one too. "Let's go," said Krishna. "Don't delay at all." And he and Balaram began to run ahead of all their cowherd friends who called, "Oh, Krishna, Rama, let us join the fun." And off they went to Braja's forest haunts, to play in every bower, grove, and sward. Sward is a meadow. The boys would tease their friend with playful taunts, forgetting his position as the Lord. Shri Krishna is inviting us as well to join him in his pastimes, which enthrall. The wise heed Krishna when they hear him tell, "Let's go, my friends, do not delay at all." You see. So now they're well into the forest, and Krishna is swinging with his friends. There's a beautiful painting of them swinging. This is another pastime they would enjoy. On a branch, there's a vine coming down, and they got a little swing. Two boys are up there with him, and some are down, you know, swinging it. For Krishna and his multitude of friends, a festival of joy each day would bring. A special thrill in Braja's forest glens was riding with them high upon a swing. O Ujjvala, Sridhama, Bhadrasena, just see Vṛndāvana's bountiful delights. The peacocks dance, the songbird's sweet refrain, the lakes and hills and other scenic sights. All these make this the best place on the earth for us to play all day and herd the cows. That's Krishna in a mood of sportive mirth, enthused his friends while swinging from the boughs. So this is just my little attempt at poetry. The Bhagavatam is filled with all the most wonderful poetry describing Krishna. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have more poetry by Krishnadas Kaviraj, Krishna's pastimes. So this is there's a wonderful description. I forgot her name now, but there's a doctor, devotee, and she spoke at length at this Gopastami, about this Gopastami on YouTube, and I can give you the link if you write to me, Dravida 108. And really ecstatic, all the details, and so much more about this, about Krishna's eagerness and what the, Yashoda's and Nanda's anxiety for Krishna, that, now he's going far away, and it's reflected later on. You'll see so many poems about, is he coming back? When is he coming back? And they have a little thing at the top of the house where they can all gather and look out and oh, is that some dust upraised by the cows? Look, can you hear the flute? And Vṛndāvana and Yashoda and all the gopis would stay up there, and be hankering, and Krishna would be coming. There's a nice verse describing, actually there's a nice ashtaka by Rupa Gosvāmī just describing Krishna's coming back. And it mentions actually in the Bhagavatam that Krishna had 108 different groups of those cows, those 100,000 or whatever, I forget how many is it. And they were all groups, and they were all gathered by their color and their form and their personality. So, like one would be named because their mouths specifically looked more like a madanga, you see? And so this group was called Madangamukhi, and there may be 1,000 cows who had that, And then there'd be little yellow cows and reddish cows and things like that. So there's a beautiful verse in the Govinda Vilamrita describing Krishna coming back from the forest. Denu, again, listen to the poetry. It's amazing. He rhymes at the beginning and the end of each line. Very difficult to do. It's Krishna's Kaviraj. That's why he's called Kaviraj, the king of poets. Denu Vṛndāvana mayantam, Venu Gita Marmatam Visrajantam, Renu Rushita Chalala Kabantam, Kenu Vikshasa Mayur Namudantam. So Denu Vrinda means the herds of cows. So Krishna is coming back and he's very leisurely walking behind all these cows. And as he's doing so, what do you think he's doing? He's playing the flute. So you got Denu Vrindamanamon, and then Venu Gitam Amritam Visajantam. And he's creating and emanating these beautiful songs on his flute as he's simply strolling behind the cows, meditation. And what's happening? So much dust is being upraised. This very auspicious, sacred Braj. Braja means dust, and Braja means Vṛndāvana. So Braja, it's very, very valuable. So that's all being upraised by the cows, and it's all decorating his hair, beautiful hair. So that's the third line. Renu. Renu means dust. Denu, Venu, Renu. Renu Rushita Chalalakavantam. His hair is moving this way, and it's being nicely dusted by this. So then the last line, Kenu, who indeed, Kenu Vikshasa Mayur Namudantam, who indeed, seeing this sight, would not attain the highest bliss, would not enter into the highest happiness. Now, anyone who's read, anything, a description of in the newspaper or novel or anything, can know that you can see in your mind's eye when it's a good writer, right? To see that you can see the scene. So if you learn this verse, you chant this verse, or you read Prabhupada's Krishna book, you're seeing these pastimes. And the more attention and with complete absorption you read, and especially if you share with others, this is how we can experience this, the more that we're attentive and pure. So this is a festival that is unique, obviously. All the festivals are unique. But this idea of Radharani disguising herself as a cowherd boy is just so heartwarming. And you see, she just wanted to be there and participate, with the cowherd boys. And we have Vrinda. She's dressed as a cowherd boy tonight. And so is her brother, Mukunda. In fact, we have another one dressed here. Mukunda's got his little stick, cowherd stick. So I don't know more details about this pastime. There's a lot more. If you write me at Dravida 108, I can give you the link to this wonderful talk that this nice devotee. I'd never seen him before. She's a doctor, actually, in India. And it's all in English. And she describes so many details of this pastime. So, any questions? Corrections? I wish I had more details, but it's I didn't have this. I looked at the sources, and it was hard to find. But it centers it centers really on the cows. There's so much honor of the cows in this, and we learn if you study the Shastra that are describing this pastime, how much they revere the cows and worship the cows, because the cows are providing the essential milk and ghee and all of the other products and the bulls are providing pulling the plows so that they can make the father and the mother. So cows are obviously revered as one of the mothers in India. Maharaj, something?
Well, you just answered the question I was going to ask.
Oh, what was that?
What's so valuable about the cows? But let me ask you this. This is all, some wishful thinking, romanticism of agrarian culture. And, we're practical people. It's the modern age, computer age. So what's all this romanticism of frolicking in the fields? What's that got to do with us?
Well, practically speaking,
you agree with
the the question is, are people happier now than they were in the days when they were centered on the simple agricultural lifestyle? And the point is that we can with our fertile brains and intelligence, we can concoct so many ways that we can dominate nature, and in this way become more powerful and have all of these devices, like you say. Oh, now we have computers, we can communicate, you know. But what is the real end of the whole thing? I mean, what do we see? What's the result? I think they did a test. This was some years ago, to say who's really happier. What population is happier? You know, and at that point, it turned out that they did studies that the happiest people were living in Bangladesh at that time. And the reason was that they were leading simple lives, and they had a very strong family and social contact, simple life, you know. Whether that's true today, this was like 20 years ago. But the point is that it's an illusion to think that by complicating our lives with all of this, technology and all of the oil and all of that stuff. I always like to quote this one verse from Prahlad Maharaj. And this is in his prayers, and he says, Yasmat Priya, because he's praying to Nrsimhadev, Lord Nrsimhadev. Yasmat Priya Priya Viyoga Sayoga Janma Shokagnina Sakalayona Shadayamana. Dukkaushadam tatapi dukkamatadiyaham bhuman brahmami varameta vadasya yogam. So he's analyzed the material life and the fallacy in this one verse. So he has this analysis. Yasmat priya apriya viyoga sanyoga. So he's saying this is what material life is like. It's actually an ocean of lamentation caused by these two things. The things that are dear to us. What's most dear to us? Well, health and youth, I think, would be right up there, right? If you don't have health, you can't enjoy anything. So health and youth is very valuable. But by the force of time, both of them are taken away from you, right? Despite all your greatest efforts. And the things and there's so many other things dear to you. You may have beloved children that die or something. Everyone's got a list of things that we wanted or have now that they would really be devastating if we lost. But just by the force of time, that happens. And then the other side is that things that are abominable to you are forced upon you. You see? That's the two sides of causing this lamentation. And not just in human life, but in all species of life, this is going on. Now, in human life, we have the intelligence, so we can have remedies for this dukkha, for this unhappiness. Duk aushadam. Simple remedy for dukkha. Medicine and so many things, and computers. But then we said, duk aushadam tadapi dukkam. The remedies themselves are often sources of more misery. I always give this example. This is years ago. I don't even know if they print it anymore. Reader's Digest, is it still going on? Maybe not. So I was in the laundromat. I picked it up, just looking, and there was an advertisement there, a spread for a medicine. I think it was antidepressant, and they showed a picture of a young lady who was cavorting in the field with her dog. I think it was anyway. But she looked very happy. She wasn't depressed anymore, right? So I turned the page, and there were another 2 pages of side effects. Watch out, you could get kidney problems with this, And then later on, I found one medicine, one side effect was death. So this is the nature of the material world. You try to, by your own concoction, you come up with some remedy, but then you find that remedy itself is causing you more suffering. You have to have a remedy for that. So that's the problem with it. But we learn from history, from the Shastra, and that the simple life centered on Krishna consciousness actually brings happiness. And we can attest from our own lives that if we're seriously practicing Krishna consciousness, you see, and we're strictly following, of course, it takes us some determination. You have to have faith. then you find yourself, so many things are solved. You're no longer prone to panic attacks, and depression. I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I was a young man, 18, 19, 20, I had serious bouts with depression. Part of it was from the Vietnam War. But anyway, whatever it was, I had that, And my father sent me to a psychiatrist, this and that, this and that. So eventually I got into yoga, and from there I got into chanting Hare Krishna, and that was 18. I'm 77 now, almost, and I haven't had any depression at all. So that's and it's free. I mean, it's free. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I had very good reason to be depressed. You're right. And what could be more depressing than have Richard Nixon in the office? Oh my God. Well, I'm not going to get into that, but I know what the answer is, but don't tell me. The point is that whatever problems we have, we find that if we take up Bhakti Yoga seriously, they will be mitigated in time, and we'll see a way out of it, you see. And factually speaking, we see that, that's those who are, realizing Krishna consciousness, just see what, Srila Prabhupada's example. He came to America at 69, not in the best of health, obviously. He had 2 heart attacks on the way over, and so much, difficulty, with the ship and the ocean. And yet he did that, and he determined to help us. He did it for us, on the order of a spiritual master and Lord Chaitanya's prediction, And so much trouble when he came. He didn't immediately, succeed. He got robbed up in Upper New York, and finally came down and was able to find a little fertile ground for that seed, planting the seed, And we know the history. It was, And did he ever show any signs of severe depression? Oh, I can't do any lamenting. No. He had his wellspring of joy, of transcendental pleasure from just remembering Krishna, serving Krishna, and Krishna giving him so much mercy, even more than ever, because he's sacrificing and risking so much to please him, to spread Krishna consciousness. So the point is, it's real. If it wasn't a real process, if we weren't, tapping into this ocean of bliss, even if we're just getting a few drops of it, it's nevertheless real. And so this simple lifestyle centered on Krishna, and glorifying Krishna and serving Krishna actually brings us to the place of peace and happiness and eternal bliss. So I have faith in it, and I think you do. And you all come here to celebrate. What is this? I mean, it's just a wonderful festival that Krishna's enjoying, and we all believe in it. It's real. So I'm going to stop there because it's 6:30, and my boss here is about to make another announcement. So
thank you,
very
Prabhu. I'm his Das. Das means servant. Hare Krishna. Okay, so